Hi, my name is Caitlin, and I am vlogging today for CatholicCollegeStudent.com. I've been vlogging the last couple of weeks on different topics, but last week I mentioned St. Gianna, and so this week I thought I would go into her life in a little bit more detail. St. Gianna was born in Italy, near Milan. She was one of 13 children, five of whom died during childhood, and three of the ones who survived were consecrated to God and the priesthood or religious life. One of those was Father Alberto, St. Gianna's brother, and he became a medical missionary priest in Brazil. St. Gianna made her first communion at age 5 because she was so intense. Um, and her life had lots of ups and downs. When she was 19 years old, both of her parents died within 5 months of each other. So she was orphaned at age 19, and so many of her siblings had died, so she had experienced a lot of tragedy. Despite that, she was pretty strong in her faith. She was involved with Catholic Action. She saw a spiritual director and just worked really hard for the church. She seriously considered medical missionary work, since those were both things that interested her, but her spiritual director and the bishop didn't think that she was a good fit for it because they didn't think that she was physically well enough to do it. So she decided not to do that. And in 1954, she actually, on the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, she went to a mass. The priest who had just been ordained asked her to attend his first mass, so she went. And there she met a man named Pietro. He was a really holy man, also involved with Catholic Action. She's really on fire for God. And they formed a friendship and grew to know each other. And in September of 1955, they were married. St. Gianna was 33 years old. And in 1956, they had their first child, Pierluigi. And they had two more children, Maria Zita and Lara. From 1956 through 1955, 1959, they had those three children. St. Gianna was also a doctor. She had her own practice. So she, was mom, wife, raising these kids and doing the home stuff. And on top of that, she was a doctor. So she's really a good example, just living, just like we do. So many moms are busy, have jobs and children, and obviously need to take care of their husbands. So it's a really good example of how we can do that. In 1961, she was pregnant after having two. Sorry, I'm in the libraries and lights are going off if I'm not moving around. In 1961, she was pregnant after having two miscarriages, and she went to the doctor and they discovered there was a fibroid tumor in her uterus while she was pregnant. The doctors presented her with three options. The first one being to remove the tumor, the child, and the uterus. The second one was to remove the tumor and the child. And the doctors were really pushing for the first option, which was the least risk involved for Gianna herself. Obviously not for her child. And Gianna opted to have the tumor alone removed, which was really risky for her. But as a doctor, she totally knew what was going on. She knew the risk. And she had a surgery. And she even told her husband afterwards, if you have to decide between me and the baby, do not hesitate. Choose and I require it. The baby. Save the baby. So, just like so many moms today, she just had such a love for her children. On Holy Saturday of 1962, she gave birth to Gianna Emanuela, and she actually had a C-section, and afterwards she got sepsis. She got really sick, and they knew that she was probably dying. She refused pain pills. She wanted to know what was going on and be able to, talk to God. and she wanted to receive the Eucharist, but she kept vomiting. So they put just a little piece of the host on her lips. And the following Saturday, so a week later, she returned home at like dawn, and she died at 8 a.m. She was only 39 years old. In 2004, on May 16th, she was canonized by Blessed Pope John Paul II, and on the basis of two miracles. The first miracle happened in 1977. A Brazilian woman was dying after a stillbirth. She had an inoperable abscess, and she needed to be taken 600 kilometers away. A religious sister turned to Saint Gianna, Gianna at the time, in prayer, requesting her intervention or her intercession, and the fistula was completely healed, so the woman lived. And then in 2003, also in Brazil, which is where Father Alberto worked and lived, a woman was 16 weeks pregnant with her fourth child when there was a tear in her placenta. There was a loss of the amniotic fluid. By God's providence, there was a bishop, the Bishop of Franca, Brazil, was at the hospital, and he was summoned to the room to meet with her. The doctors had advised her to get an abortion, but the bishop, encouraged her to save the life of her child, and he prayed through the intercession of Saint Gianna, and in May, a healthy girl was born, healthy baby girl, which is such a miracle. So those are the two miracles, and like I said, in 2004 she was canonized, and this is a historical moment actually because it was the first time that the husband and children, or spouse and children, of a saint were present at the canonization. So I just wanted to share that story with you today. She's a great example of how we can live as lay people and how we're still called to sanctity no matter what we're doing. I think it's easy to look at nuns in convents or priests and think, oh yeah, like those are the saints, which is true, but people outside of that are called that too. Saint Gianna is a great example of how to just strive for holiness in everything that we do. So that's what I've got for you this week, and I will be in contact with you, I guess. Thank you for watching, and I hope that my skills improve. God bless.